The Uncle Gold Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Uncle Gold Podcast. My name is Borna, and in this podcast we bring you the tips and tricks how to find the gold in life. And today I brought Jelena Bogdanović with me. We met, I think it was 2 years ago on a personal development conference, and I wanted to chat to her more about how to develop your mindset and develop in life in general. So Jelena, welcome to the Uncle Gold Podcast.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invite.
It's my pleasure as well. Jelena, for everyone who's not following your work on social media, can you give us a little intro, what you do and where you're currently with your career and life?
Perfect. Yeah. So my name is Jelena. I live in Ireland last 5 years. We moved to Ireland 5 years ago, and I'm a Zumba instructor. I'm a fitness and mindset coach, and I do a little bit of designing and article writing. So I have my hobbies. But most people know me as a Zumba instructor. So that's my job on social media. That's the one that I advertise the most.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot of you jumping there and having so much energy and just hyping people that are in the classes. I think it's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you start your Zumba career? When did you first discover it and how?
Absolutely. So I discovered Zumba, I think it was 9 years ago. So I was somebody who was struggling with my self-image. I always saw myself as somebody who was overweight, although I was not, but I felt that way. So I felt uncomfortable going to gyms. I really tried everything, group classes, but it wasn't until I discovered Zumba that I found my perfect fitness program. So I started just to lose weight, to meet new friends as well, because I was quite an introvert. So I didn't have many friends, and Zumba was such a blessing. And after only a year and a half, I think, of doing classes with my instructor, I became an instructor. So roughly 8 years ago, I started teaching classes in my hometown, Novi Sad in Serbia. And then when we moved to Ireland, that was the first thing I did within a couple of days. I did not have a job. I did not have an apartment, anything, but I did have a class. And I started after, I think, a week or something. So it's definitely, I never actually took a break from it. The longest I had a break was when I had my daughter, Maria, who's 2.5 years old. And that was the longest break. And obviously now with lockdown, but I deliver online classes. So it's still something.
How does that work? Can people still enjoy it, or is Zumba more? I always had a feeling that you would enjoy it more in a group. Can people still enjoy it when they're at home alone?
Absolutely. There is people, I think, you have to adjust. You have to do what you can with what you have at the moment. So it can actually be such a great experience, especially if you have loud music, if you have an external speaker, and it's great because I deliver through Zoom. So I can see my participants dancing with me, and, we have chat between songs or at the end of the class. So it's a nice experience, but it's much harder for instructors teaching the class because there's no energy coming back, as in, we give so much, we might even make some noise and, pretend like we're in the class, but you don't get a lot back, as in energy wise, because they're all muted. So you can see them from distance, dancing, but if you have your glasses on, like I do, but it's great. It's a way to keep dancing and keep exercising at home during lockdowns.
From the videos that I've seen, it gives you kind of the freedom to also move on your own. It's not too rigid in what the instructor does. You can also kind of improvise yourself. What elements does it besides that have? Can you tell us a little bit more for someone who maybe never seen Zumba? And we'll put some pictures here in the podcast, definitely, so people can see it.
Absolutely. So Zumba is a fitness program that's inspired by Latin rhythms. So it's salsa, merengue, reggaeton, bachata as well. So there's all these different Latin rhythms, but it also has international rhythms. So 70% is Latin and 30% is we had some Russian songs, we have belly dancing, we have, flamenco is still Latin, but, all these different, I dance to Serbian music as well, so it's kind of a mixture of everything, but it's a great fitness program. Like you can adjust it. Like you said, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. If you feel uncomfortable with something, or you just love the song so much, you can just improvise, as long as you're performing safe movement and you have enough room to dance, and you're moving, that's good.
Mhm.
So everything is like, there's no right or wrong in Zumba. And that's why I love it so much. It gives you the
Mhm.
freedom.
I've seen one of your posts. I think it was on the amount of calories it burns in 1 hour. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like how much of an effect it has on the body?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very effective fitness program, but again, it all depends on the instructor. Like my class would be high intensity, not too high. I don't want to scare people now, but we do a lot of jumping and we sweat a lot. While other instructors, you might have people who like bachata more, so it's kind of slower, and some people prefer that, which is great as well.
Mm.
Mine is kind of a mixture, but there's also fitness variations. So instead of doing two left, two right, we go down into a squat, and we do different fitness elements. So it's really good. And I always put in some elements from it's called Strong Nation,
Mhm.
which is a high intensity class inspired by martial arts. So I throw in some elements, for toning the lower body,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So it can be very, very effective. And
Mhm.
it's great for somebody who's just starting with fitness.
That's amazing. And where can people sign up? Like, where do they find you?
Well, they can follow me on my Instagram, or they can add me as a friend on Facebook, but I always put my classes on zumba.com. So if you look for online classes under my name, you can see my schedule. Right now, I do one class per week on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. GMT time. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's online. And hopefully very, very soon we will have in-person classes as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I see Croatia and a lot of other countries opening up. How is it in Serbia? Is the lockdown still ongoing or?
Yeah, I had a pleasure to dance in person. Like I think it's been a year since I had, participated in a proper class. But
Mhm.
yeah, things are not as strict here. And there is like I was just looking into a local gym I want to start because we're here in Croatia now. So everything is open. It's much easier, and that's the reason exactly why we came to Croatia. We have 2.5-year-old daughter, and she's not, she needs kids, she needs
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
Plus, the weather wasn't great in Ireland. So we came to Croatia, and now she has the freedom, but we have the freedom too, which is great.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the Uncle Gold podcast. If you want to support this whole project, make sure you go to the second channel called Uncle Gold Podcast Clips. There I create short form videos with the best topics from the interviews that I do on the main channel. You get their videos daily. They're separated nicely into playlists, so you can choose the topic that you want to watch most. And now let's go back to the video. I missed that. I'm still in Ireland and it's still lockdown. Now they started talking about maybe opening up the terraces of bars and pubs, and they mentioned hotels maybe in June, but we'll see. They moved the date already, and you know. But okay, can you tell us a little bit? We'll leave the links for your Instagram and the website below in the show notes. But can you tell us the story how you got to Ireland? Why did you move, and how did that process look like in the beginning?
It was mission impossible. If you ask anybody, they were all saying you're crazy, you can't do it. Like what happened is that my husband Dusan and myself, we're from different countries, right? So we were dating for a year and a half, and then police called us, and they're like, "Why are you crossing the border so often?" Like, yeah, and that. It was crazy. Like, and I'm like, I'm just visiting my boyfriend. He's like, "You have 10 days to leave the country," and I'm like, "What?" And I was staying here. Yeah, so I think you have like I don't know how many days to spend in EU country, and where I come from, like Serbia is not EU. So we just said, okay, let's get married. So we got married because police pissed us off. But yeah, it's a funny story, but it's it was the best decision in my life, apparently and obviously. So when we decided to do that, we just knew that Dushan's parents, they have a farm here, so we just knew that it wasn't for us. We wanted to explore other options.
Mhm.
And Dushan's uncle lives in Tralee in Ireland, so we said, okay, let's try that. And just in the time when we decided to move to Ireland, I got my green card for the States,
Okay.
because we applied, like my mom applied like 20 years, but because my uncle is in New York. So before moving to Ireland, I actually lived in New York for a while, and I came back, and then we moved to Ireland. Everybody's like, "You're crazy! You're going to Ireland instead of the States." But it was an easier option for us, and it's
Hmm.
closer to home and everything.
Yeah, it
So
is.
yeah, we moved 5 years ago, and it wasn't an easy, like it was a complicated process, but we
Mhm.
persisted. And I give um, like I believe and I know that personal development helped me a lot because we were kind of tapping into it at the time. So I know that this helped us a lot with achieving that goal.
Mhm. That's a big topic, and I want to go deep into it because it helped me a lot in my life, and I feel that it helped millions of people throughout history, and even today. Like, um, when did you first look into personal development? How did you find it, and what were kind of the first steps that you took there?
So I believe I was 21, so that would be 7 years ago or something like that, 2021. And my first encounter was a friend of mine who was Ukrainian. So I would hang out with him a lot because I studied Russian, so it was good practice for me. And he had a note, a $1 note, stick to his wall next to his computer, working computer, and he added zeros, so it said $1 million. And
Awesome.
I just found it, yeah, it was so interesting. It was different. And I asked him about it. And then he told me about The Secret, the movie, and I started looking into it. I watched the movie, and then obviously the law of attraction. My best friend in college, she gave me Robin Sharma's book. She started talking about the book she read. It was The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Hmm.
And she landed it to me, and I read it, and that was it. Like I became addicted to it
Hmm.
ever since. And
So, did you start by reading things, or audiobooks, or movies, or how did it start?
so the first thing I did was watch the movie The Secret, right? And then I read Robin Sharma, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and then I made my vision board. I still have it; it's at home. I saw it now in Serbia. So I made my vision board, and I would write my gratitudes. Like now, I think about it. Like 9 years ago, 8 years, whatever it was, like I was writing my gratitudes, and it really,
Mm.
really helped me change my life for better. And
Mm.
I was actually meditating quite a lot when I was younger, but I would lock myself in my room because I had incense sticks, and you would be quite familiar with Serbian and Croatian culture. It's not orthodox to see people meditating or talk about
Yeah,
it, right? Because it's
yeah,
like, it's airy fairy, it's not
yeah,
working.
yeah.
So I would lock myself in my room to meditate. So that's my beginnings.
I didn't meditate until I think a few months before Ireland, so like 3 years ago. I was always thinking about it. I was always like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it," and I never kind of found the time. And I always kind of felt exactly as you described it. Like everybody else would be like, why are you even doing that, right?" But then before moving to Ireland, I spent a few months on the island Hvar, and I set it as a relaxation period. And I said I'm going to meditate every day. And I went to the beach, found a rock to sit on, and really got into it, and I loved it. But I want to go back just a little bit. The thing that you said earlier, for people that might not know, what is a vision board?
Oh yeah, a vision board is basically it can even be, I have a sample here, a sample. It's my own vision board. It doesn't have to be a board. It can just be printed A4 paper. So what it is, it contains everything that you want to achieve, right? So you have my financial goals, you have my Zumba goals, right? You have my house goals, you have my family, everything that's important to me, my holidays, right?
Hmm.
So it's something that you put together, and it's all the things that you want to achieve in life, everything that matters to you. And
Hmm.
it's such a powerful tool because it keeps you focused on your goals, because it's so easy, like you said, especially if you're surrounded with negative people or naysayers, it keeps you focused. And where focus goes, energy flows, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very, very powerful thing. And I would highly recommend
Mm.
creating one.
And do you hang it up somewhere in the house, or do you take it with you every day, or next to your computer? Where do you have it?
So this was hanging just behind my computer in the office in Tralee. So I would have it behind. It's not hanging on the wall because we thought we were going to come here for 3 weeks, and we've been here for a month. But it's here in my. I have my portfolio here, so it's here, and I look at it every single day. So I would recommend putting it somewhere where you can see it every single day.
Hmm. Hmm. Awesome, awesome. How do you go by creating it in the first place? Because I feel that when you're in personal development a longer time, you kind of get those things, and it's easy for you to like set a new goal. All right, I'm going to do it. You analyze it and do it. But someone who's just getting into personal development might struggle with it. Can you give some beginner tips for people who maybe want to create their own vision board, or are just starting developing themselves and analyzing themselves and trying to improve their lives in the first steps?
So it can be a very simple thing, like for example, what my uncle from the guy I mentioned from New York,
Uncle
like he
Gold?
is, yeah, he is what we called unconsciously competent. What he did, he found an image of a house in newspapers, and I'll never forget that. Like he actually cropped it, like he cut it out from the newspapers, and he had it on his board, like a notice board for his work, and he had it there. And he built exactly the same house, which is worth a lot of money, like in Serbia. And if you ask people, it seemed impossible and crazy, but he made exactly the same house.
Wow.
So he did that. He doesn't know about the secret. He doesn't know,
Mm.
but he was focused. He knew what he wanted. So it can be as simple as that. Like if you see something, like a lot of people want material things, like I want to buy a new car, or like I have here, I want a house. Find a house that you like on the internet, or maybe you see it in papers, whatever it is, and you can just download the picture and print it out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a board. It can just be a little picture, and you can carry it with you. Something as simple as that.
I heard that people, as you mentioned before, the $1 million note on the wall, that people carry it around in their wallets as well. So every time they go and pay something, it reminds them of the money that's coming to them. I think that's a
Yeah.
good tip.
Yeah, it's a great tip. It's a great tip. And I don't do that personally. I have my little goal card that I carry with me. You probably heard this from Dusan as well. But we have our little goal cards that we carry with us. And it says the amount of money that I'm earning. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am making, whatever I want to earn per month. And the other goal is the house that we want to build.
Hey, if you love using YouTube, I recommend the free Chrome extension called TubeBuddy. It allows you to do some advanced keyword research, cut your publishing time in half, and also rank your videos higher in search. I use them when creating for all my 3 channels. They have a paid version as well, but I recommend starting with the free option for starters. They give you a lot of data when watching YouTube, also comparing your stats to other YouTube channels, and help me a lot to gain more subscribers and more viewers on my channels. As I said, it's a free Chrome extension, but please use the link down below in the comments. And if you go for the paid version, type in BornaTubers to get a discount of 20%. And now let's get back to the video.
You touched on a big topic there, which are affirmations. Can you explain them a little bit to people maybe hearing them for the first time? What are affirmations? How do they work? And maybe as well, how to set them for yourselves?
So affirmation is something that you repeat to yourself, and you basically want to build this belief in fate, right? And you're trying to attract something through those affirmations, right? You're convincing yourself to believe in it. A very common mistake is what people do is they keep writing. For example, I am XYZ, or I own, or whatever it is, but they don't get emotionally involved with it. And that's like, there's no point writing pages and pages if you don't feel it. I love Bob Proctor. Like we are working with Bob Proctor, with one of his best consultants. And he says, well, he didn't say that. Earl Nightingale said it, who was Bob Proctor's mentor. He said, feeling is the secret, and sometimes people now, when I tell them, they can't believe that sometimes you don't even have to write it. But if you close your eyes, if you see it, and if you feel it here, it's maybe even more powerful than writing the affirmation. Right. So some people have heard about the inner dialogue. So this is a form of affirmations as well, right? When you speak to yourself, how do you see yourself? What do you say to yourself in the mirror? So these are all different types of affirmations. They're very, very powerful because it's auto-suggestion, and unfortunately, 99% of people have negative auto-suggestion, and that's where the problem is. That's why it's like 1% of humanity is very successful, and the rest is just, stuck in the victim circle and not experiencing the result that they want to experience.
Yeah, I agree. So affirmations are one way how we can change that. That's amazing. Tell me, how did you start your coaching business? Because right now you and Dusan are coaching people and helping them change those auto suggestions and improve their lives. I'm sure that many people are interested in a process like that. Can you describe to us how you started it, how you're doing it, and what are some of the effects that you're having on people?
Mm-hmm. So how we started working with Declan O'Donoghue, who is our consultant, right? So, and we work with him now, as in he was our mentor, he still is, but we're also part of his team, is that I actually came across an ad on Facebook about goal setting. It was just at the time, it was February last year when I quit my job to be full-time, full-time mom slash Zumba instructor. And I felt this huge void here. It's like I'm not doing enough. There's something missing. Our marriage wasn't in a great place. And I came across goal setting, and I saw Bob Proctor and Declan. It was an image, and I recognized Bob Proctor, of course, but I'm like, who's this guy? He's Irish, and it's the funny thing is the seminar was like in Rose Hotel, which is like 1 minute away from us. I can see the hotel from our apartment. And I said, I have to go. It's a sign, right? So I went, and truly it was a sign, and we signed up with Declan, both of us at the same time, for the 6 months program. And I think we were 4 or 5 months in, and Declan offered us, he asked us if we want to work with him because he saw our results, he saw how passionate we are about the material and how well we know it. So we said yes, because we really, really believe in this, and we know how powerful the material is. To answer the second part of your question, how do we help people, right? So when you start working with personal development mentor, for example, Declan, right? I can talk about our program. I don't know what others are doing, but you're digging deep into your beliefs. Like, why do you believe that, you are this person, right? Why aren't you making more money than you are making, right? So it's not an easy journey, okay? There's a lot of, digging into your past and accepting some things, forgiving as well. But once you realize what's stopping you, what beliefs are holding you back from using your potential, because we all have infinite potential, that's when true magic starts. That's when you're like, okay, I used to believe that I come from this small environment, that I should be working hard and making, barely any money just to survive, right? Because that's who we are. That's what my family is like, right? But if I say, okay, that's what the past was, and I'm not responsible for whatever happened in the past, but now I have all this material, I have all the information, I am responsible for my future results, because responsibility breeds empowerment. And that's when you take control and you just learn to dream bigger. That was a game changer for me. I just learned to dream bigger. And that's what people do. They go after amazing goals, like huge goals, and they achieve them, So it's magic almost.
Yeah, it is, and it's possible. That's what people don't see. They think, oh no, just as you described, just because I've been getting the same results for the previous part of my life, they think, oh, that's where I am, right? They have a fixed mindset, and they think that they can't get out of it. They don't even try to think themselves out of it, but as soon as they do, they realize they actually can start making small steps that can take them out of there and bring them to a new place where they want to be. In my mind, it's still the problem that people don't set goals at all. Like when I chat to random people, like throughout the year, you meet, let's say 1,000 people, right? And then you chat to them, like most of them are like, so, hey, what are you up to? Where are you going in life, right? Most of them kind of don't have a clue. They're either career focused, where they're just like, oh, and not progress focused, like, oh, I'm going to advance my career. They're just like, oh, I have to go and work a job, right? And then they're in this loop and cycle, or they're focused on like another segment of life and ignoring everything else. But also, again, without the growth mindset, also with just like, oh yeah, I have kids and that's about it. And they don't set any plans for that. I think It's a shame that people don't actually strive for more, because I know the amount of happiness that can come when you see how you can progress, and it feels great when you can see like, oh man, I did it. Like, oh, like you end up being so proud of yourself, and then you're like, you get hooked on the positive feedback, and you're like, oh, maybe I can set another goal, right? But can you talk a little bit towards that, because I feel that people need to work on setting goals and even start to think about it. How do you approach that? And what would you give as an advice to listeners, how to set goals, how to even start thinking about it?
I absolutely agree with what you said. Too many people are settling for less, and they would fall into this category that we call mediocrity, right? When, you're just living the life, and, it is what it is, and everything is the same, flat line. And it's a waste of a human life. I dare to say that, because the purpose of human life is growth. If you're not growing every day, it's either you're stagnating, and after stagnation comes the downfall, right? So I had a chat with Dusan, like we take late walks around here, and we were talking about that, how after working with Declan, after being in personal development, we will never ever settle for less. We will never ever settle for mediocrity. What I would advise to people is that think about yourself. Like, you came into this world for a reason, right? So it's up to you to discover your purpose. It doesn't have to be something huge like changing the world or finding the cure for cancer, right? But your purpose is to grow, to be better every single day. And it doesn't matter how big or small that goal is. If you're moving towards it a little bit every day, you're making a progress. Mm-hmm. And making progress is more important than anything else. But how to set goals? Well, when we started with Declan, I had I loved my goal at the time. My goal was to own a house, to earn enough money from Zumba to cover my rent, and to have a corgi. And I know you heard this from Dusan as well, because that's where my mindset was at. And now when I think about it, I just want to hug myself and tell myself, you're much more than that. My goals have tremendously changed now. It's like a bigger picture. And I'd love for people to sit down and write a list of things that they really want. Like you said, you mentioned parents, and a lot of people expect when you have kids, your life stops, and that's such a misconception, because your kids are the exact reason why you should grow every single day, why you should improve, to teach them that they can do anything. Mm-hmm. So forget about what's the best for family. Forget about what does my husband or my father or mother, what do they want me to do? Or what do they think is best for me? Write down the things that you want, the things that you're passionate about, right? So that's how you start with, finding a worthy goal or worthy ideal, which is the first lesson in our 6 months program.
Jelena, I agree. I think that people also struggle with a feeling like, oh, if I go for my goals right now, that will be selfish. Like, I will be ignoring what my mom and my dad said, or what my wife said, or what my husband said, and then they kind of block their goals from themselves, because they think that, oh, I'm just being selfish, I'm not giving back. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because I have my own opinion, and I think we kind of think the same about that, but please go ahead.
100%, Bodna, 100%. Like, that was me a year and a half ago. In the seminar, Declan, I forgot my glasses. Everybody knows that story. I forgot my glasses, and I ended up in the first row because I couldn't see from distance. And whatever happened, but he asked me to share my financial goal with the audience. And I shared my goal, which was like 750. And he said 750 euros. That was it, to cover my rent. And he said, what if I told you could make double the money in the next month? And I said, I know, but do I really need it? Like I said, I feel bad wanting more. I feel guilty wanting more.
Yeah.
And that's when he said something very important. The more you have, the more you can help others.
Yeah.
And I think this is the key to not feeling guilty anymore. The more you have, like I had a lady yesterday, and we were talking about her kids and stuff, and she said, I'm not my goals are not financial or material. I just want to be a better person and be there for my kids. I said, yeah, but if you're struggling with money, right? If you can't afford to buy things for your kids or afford the college or whatever it is, how do you expect to be happy in life? So if people say, I don't want more money, they're lying, because everybody wants more money. Everybody wants financial security.
Yeah.
But people are, trying to deceive themselves and feel better about themselves by saying, no, it's grand. I don't need it.
Yeah. I think we're taught that since we're children. Like money is bad, greed is bad. Well, greed is bad, but the perception that is installed in people, like only evil people are rich. Like the only rich people are crooks who kind of stole money. And I know that's that story is told in Croatia and Serbia and Bosnia a lot. And as soon as someone appears on TV or in the newspapers who has a lot of money, they're like, "Oh, he probably stole it. Oh, he probably." And I'm like,
so true.
and I talk to my friends. And I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, it's impossible that everyone who has money is a crook, is a criminal. Like, it's just it's statistically impossible. Like, there has to be at least one guy who did it like fair and square, right?" But the truth is actually the opposite. There are a lot more people who made their money through honest ways and through working hard. And there are a lot of companies that really do give back and try to help other people. So we're all not using our potentials enough. And I think you said a great point there. And that was exactly what I was aiming at when I asked the question, is that if you have $1 million, you can help 5 more families today. Not tomorrow, not in 10 years, today. You can change someone's life now, right? And that's why money is good. And when people say, oh, money is bad, I look at it as a sword. I'll give you an example. Somebody will use a sword to kill someone. Somebody will use a sword to help someone, to protect someone. Somebody will use it to, cut the trees, to make a path, So it depends on how people use it. Money in itself, it's not bad. It's just a representation of value. So that's why I think it's important to work on yourself, because if you're not in a good place and you get money, you're still going to use it wrong. But if you work on yourself all the time, money will start coming to you and you will use it in the right way. So that's just a win-win situation right there.
Yeah, I love that analogy. And actually, I heard the same, very similar, like that money basically emphasizes or amplifies who you already are. So if you have more money and you are a bad person, you're a bad person, you will do bad things. If you're a good person and you have a lot of money, you will do good things. Mm-hmm. So it's exactly the same. I love that analogy. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, Jelena, are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V?
A little bit, yes. Okay.
He's an American entrepreneur, big on social media and investor, blah, blah, blah. One of his friends asked him, like, where are you with charity? Like, are you donating any money? Are you giving any away? And he was in the phase where he was building up his company, and he told him, like, yeah, I'll do it in a few years when I get more money. And he's like, no, man, start right now. And they did a thing like every birthday, donate how many years you have. And so each year it grows a little bit more, but it's not as much as, that it would set you back. But he said it's not important how much you give. It's important that you create a habit of constantly giving back. And he listened to him. He said it's a great thing, and he recommends it to a lot of people, which is not very often talked about. Most people, when you hear donations, you hear them on TV when a billionaire donates all of his money, or something like that, or like on a very small level, like somebody asks you for a chair, like, hey, can you give like €1 or €2, and then you're like, yeah, all right, fine. I really do think it has to be something in between there, where you consciously set an amount on the side and then kind of go towards it. But yeah, while we're on the topic of Gary V, and we mentioned social media earlier, that you use it for your business as well. Talk to me about that. Where are you on social media? What do you think about it? Is it good? Is it bad? There's a big debate about that one. And what are some of the effects that you see of using social media?
I love social media now. I did not like it before. I had Facebook, and then we moved to Ireland. When we got married, I actually deleted Facebook. But I started again. I made a new profile for Zumba, because it's the only way I could connect with people, local people, because I didn't know anybody. But yeah, there's, again, social media has good side and bad side. It depends if you're a business owner, if you're looking to expand your business, or you want to help people. It's a great thing, it's the way to go. But if you're just, if you're somebody who's posting pictures to get likes, that's obviously a bad thing, because it can affect your confidence in a very, very negative way. And as we know, like TikTok and all these other medias, like they're available to kids, well, younger audience, let's put it that way. And it affects their mental health tremendously, and in a very, very, very bad way. So it all depends, how do you use it, what do you use it for? And there's a difference. Like, I had a confidence workshop maybe a couple of months ago, I think, and I said, for example, it's all about perspective, right? So if you see somebody, let's say I'm a fitness instructor. So before, if I would see somebody who's looking, extremely great, with all the muscles, abs and everything, I would think, Jesus, why am I not like her? What am I doing wrong? But now I would see it as an inspiration rather than competition. Or now I see it as collaboration. So I would see other instructors. I would reach out and say, "You're doing such a great job. I'd love to do a class with you."
Yeah.
So it all depends on your mindset. Like, you need to have a very, very positive mindset, strong mindset, if you're using social media, to not have it affect you in a bad way.
I agree. um, it could almost be used as training, like look, here's someone who has something that, and then the inner struggle of like how to handle your feelings. But most people don't look at it that way. They just like go straight to jealousy, and then they're like and then get depressed and go to their miserable job and just repeat the cycle. So yeah, I think it just again, the same story as money. I think it amplifies the position you're in. If you're in a bad place, it will definitely not help you. Well, maybe it will. Like, if by some chance you stumble upon, let's say, your post or someone's motivational post or something regarding goals or something that can change your mind, I believe their social media has a lot of potential to help people, because if you join that feed, you get more and more of that content. So if you start following people who are putting out motivational posts, you get more of these posts, and then suddenly your whole Instagram bio or profile page changes, and then you have a lot of people with quotes and ideas about money and starting a business and how to grow your life and things like that. And then your whole perception of what's going on changes. And it's funny when you take someone else's phone into your hand and then you scroll through Instagram, you kind of get a feeling of how they think and what they do and where they at. I know that as soon as I open any new social platform that I want to join, I immediately type in the word success, and then I see what I get there, and then I like the first few pages or people, just so kind of to direct myself intentionally into the direction of constantly improving myself in my life, because that's what I get value from. And I love chatting about that, and that's the whole reason for the podcast. I think even talking about that, not just reading motivational quotes, but sitting down with a friend or the person you know and just talking about the idea of how to improve your life and change something that's bothering you, or somebody presents a new idea, I think that alone can in the long term change your life a lot. And most people are not having these conversations. Do you chat to your friends and family about these topics a lot?
Yeah, actually, and I can show you, like, I write my affirmations in English, and I can actually show you one of the things that I write every single day is that I write, "I'm so happy and grateful now that I have inspiring friends who are ambitious," and we talk about ideas, and we talk about prosperity, abundance, and stuff like that, because you become who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And yes, I have, we have our friends. Just the other day, we had a visit from a family friend. It's Dusan's mom's friend. We never even, we knew he was very successful here in Croatia. He's a multiple business owner, investor, etc. But we had such a great chat. Like, we saw him only for our wedding the last time. That was the first time for me to see him, meet him. And now he came, he said he wants to talk to us because he heard that we are in this business of personal development. And he actually knows Lisa Nichols. He had the pleasure of meeting her, sitting down with her and chatting to her. So we're going to visit him in Zagreb the next day. But, it's interesting how you actually can attract these people into your life. Yeah. And that's why I write it all the time, because I want people like yourself, we can talk about ideas. And when you sit down, you're not going to talk about why something can't be done. Yeah. You're going to talk about, okay, how can we make this happen? And it's going to improve both of your lives. Like you mentioned the word envy before. There's no envy, between true friends who are ambitious. They just want to see each other succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And then
that's
if
fun.
you're in a struggle and can't find a way out, somebody can see it from a different perspective, and then he can be like, "Oh yeah, well maybe if you just changed it." And sometimes you just need a little tweak, like something little has to be changed, and then you're like, "Boom, yeah, that's the idea that I needed," and then it skyrockets your success just because somebody saw it from another perspective. I have a friend from Croatia. He was actually the first podcast on this channel, and he's very smart. And he got into personal development later than me, but he's like full on it now, and he's like working on himself every single day, and he's made tremendous progress. And I'm super happy for him. And we chat a lot about things like that and setting goals and ideas about that, and I just enjoy it. I just feel that most people, when they sit down, they chat about what the Kardashians did, or like, and I'm like,
Really.
come on, like, yeah, like, okay, fine, let's mention it, fine, but is that all we're going to talk about? Like, isn't there anything else? So yeah, that's another big thing. Like, I love, I think that a huge potential waster is when you meet people talking about stuff that doesn't help anybody. Yeah, that's just my opinion there. But hey,
Yeah, like I would always ask myself, if you're talking about something, just ask yourself, how is this going to make my life better?
yeah.
Like how is talking about other people and their problems, or what did they do right or wrong? How is that going to improve your life? And the
Mhm,
more time you spend thinking about others and focusing on their results, the less time you have to work on your own results.
mhm. Yeah, agree. Jelena, for people listening who are eager to learn and absorb new material, what are some of the books you would recommend? What are some of the podcasts you would recommend people to follow, people to listen to? Give us some knowledge that people can learn from.
I'm not, to be funny enough, I'm not great with podcasts, as in, I don't know why, maybe because I'm not, spending a lot of time walking, because I just can't sit and listen to something. I like to be walking or running or something. So I can't recommend any podcast except yours.
Thank
But
you.
I know actually Kelly Roach. She's a lovely lady from Unstoppable Entrepreneurs. She has a podcast, and Declan was a guest there, and she had Gary Vee as well, and Grant Cardone. So it's a great podcast. You can learn a lot from her podcast. But when it comes to books, Jesus, where do I start? One
Do you
of the
have like
favorite
a
ones.
Do you have like a favorite book?
And not really. Like I like them all a lot. So maybe Power of Awareness, but Neville Goddard. But we're reading You Too Can Be Prosperous. Okay, and this book is all about money, and it's all about accepting the idea that you can be prosperous. Like, going back to guilt and going back to why would I want more, etc. But Power of Awareness is like next level stuff. It's very advanced level, advanced mindset level, but it's great because it really explains everything. Another one is Your Invisible Power, by Genevieve Brechner. I can never pronounce her last name. Her first name is Genevieve anyway. Your Invisible Power, it's all about your imagination.
Hmm.
And it's a book we got from Declan, and it's only like a couple of pages. I think, I don't know, 50, 60 pages, even less. But it really helps people understand why it's important to take control of your imagination. Because
Hmm.
if you don't control the thoughts that you're having, you will end up being controlled by your outer circumstances. And she
Hmm.
gives great case studies. Now, the book was written in 18 something, I think. It's an old book, but she gives case studies of people who actually use their imagination and visualization to
Hmm.
improve their results and change their life.
Awesome, awesome. Um, Dusan mentioned that he did speed reading and that he can like go through a book in a few minutes. Um, did you do speed reading as well?
No, he's trying to get me to do it. I don't know why, but for me, like when I start a course, I really have to be very, very interested in it.
Mm.
I might try it. It's 30-day course, I think, by Jim Quick, and he's reading one of his books right now, the Limitless. I think
Mhm.
that's the name of it. So he's a big fan.
Cool, cool. Awesome. One more topic that we didn't go through, and I think it's big for people, is the topic about money. And for some people, it's a huge block. For some people, it's a huge unlock. But I'm gonna give you free range there. Can you talk about money, what it represents to you, to people, and how people can improve their money situation?
Money, what does it represent for me? It represents freedom. Freedom to enjoy life, to live the life that you truly want, right? And it's not about showing off. It's not about, if you think about the richest people in the world, they have black t-shirts, and you can't even say that they're as rich or wealthy as they are, because they don't feel the need to show it off, but they know that they can afford any experience that they want. For me, it's about experiences, okay? And yes, maybe the material thing is the house, which I want. I have my certain standard, right? For Dusan, it's a Tesla. We want to drive a Tesla, but other than that, I don't really need anything material. I used to work in jewelers, and I thought like, oh, I want to buy myself diamonds and stuff like that. And I ended up buying myself diamonds, and I did not enjoy them as much as I thought I would, because like I said, how is this going to improve your life? I don't even wear earrings, no. And they're in the box, but I thought like, oh, this is going to be so great. It depends what you enjoy. And I actually, when I did a course, it was the Science of Well-being by Yale University. They did a research on what makes people happy, right? And they came to results that when people invest in experiences versus material things, that they're much, much happier, because they can actually relive the experience. So that's why I want to invest in traveling to, I don't know, everywhere, first class, whatever it is. It's an experience for me. I want to stay in beautiful hotels. And every time when I think back about it, my brain is actually releasing the same chemicals, the same chemicals it was releasing at the time. So I'm basically putting myself in the same vibration. So that's that. There's a real science behind it, and I experienced that myself. Like, it's great to have the money to buy things, but it's not about buying things. What else did you ask me? How can people increase their...
what can people do to kind of improve their situation in life in regards to money?
First of all, stop thinking that you don't have the money. Stop coming from a place of lack. When people, it's a common thing, people have mortgages and some people have debts, and all they can think about is the money they own to the bank or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, I need to get out of it. And that's, like Bob Proctor says, that's the worst goal you can have, because you're thinking about what you don't have instead of thinking what you have. So I would start with writing down how much do you want to earn every month. Put down everything. How much is your mortgage costing you? How much is your car costing? Whatever, all the big expenses. And then add to that, how much do you want to have to enjoy life, So I would start with that. And definitely ideas, because nobody got rich from working for somebody else. And I think that's a well-known fact. So unless you start something by yourself, but you need to be in the right mindset. I wouldn't leave my job and say, okay, I'm starting a business, and then you go bankrupt, after 2 months. But definitely do something by yourself, for yourself, whether it's investing. If you have a lot of money now, if you're earning that from 9-to-5 job, that's great. But think about investing that money maybe in properties, in stocks, or whatever it is, something that's going to give you money back. Because there's a great book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki, right? So he's talking about assets versus liabilities, So that's a very powerful, and I would get financially educated a little bit as well, because we're not like this stuff should be taught in schools, but it's not. You have to learn all the other things that you'll never ever have to use in your life again, and nobody tells you about how world works, how taxes work, how starting your business works,
Definitely 2 courses that I would add, and I mentioned that on previous podcasts as well. Actually 3 courses into schools. One of them would be interpersonal relationships, like how to talk to friends, family, finding a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, things like that are very essential for people, and nobody teaches you how to be human, right? How to interact properly. Second one would definitely be finances. And the third one, that might actually be the second one, would be personal development, like teaching kids how to set goals. I think that would imagine if somebody taught you what you know now in like second grade or third grade, right?
Yeah.
What would be
Yeah.
the difference? But most schools just go learn this, and that's it, and no explanation, no reason why. And Simon Sinek says start with why, right? And then kids don't know why they have to learn so much. They're like, well, why are these books? Why do we have to learn this? And people are just like, no, don't question it, just learn it. So yeah, then they get confused and then they don't want it. But that's sad, because then they lose the passion for learning. And yeah, that we know how that
Develop,
affects lives.
yeah, and they can develop the report card syndrome, which is like if you failed maths once, you will think that you're not good in maths for the rest of your life. This happened to me. I'm still not good at maths. I'm joking, but if I really wanted to, if I focused my attention to it, I could be. Like one of the things I always wanted to. I want to go to college to study computers and IT and design, and I never went after it because I had report card syndrome from primary school, that I'm not good in maths and physics. And it was my dream. And I put it like, I didn't put it on hold. I just, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't even an option. So I went for linguistics, and now I'm kind of going back to designing because I am very passionate about it. But, you know, one thing that I would say to myself, to my younger self, is first of all, don't give a flying F about what others will say or think. And the second is go after what you want, regardless of your past results, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You mentioned that you don't know Gary Vee that much, but those are exactly his words. Like he's
Oh,
telling
really?
people, yeah, he's telling people all the time, like, just don't give a flying F about what other people say. And he's huge on social media. So he's like, yeah, post stuff online, right? And then they're like, Gary, how do I post stuff and not care about things? And he's like, just don't care. Like, just post it because of yourself. You're documenting your own journey, right? And yeah, that's one of the things that I got from him. Like, if you do a post of something every single day, then after 5 years, you can look back and analyze it and be like, see, this is how it improved, right? So you can learn so much. And that's another argument for why social media is good, because you can go back 5 years and see, oh, look, I wasn't as successful as I am now, right? And then you get even more of a boost and be like, yeah, I can push my goals even further. So yeah, that's one of the arguments there. But tell me, Jelena, where are you heading now? Like, we're coming to the final part of the podcast there. Do you have do you have your eyes set on any particular thing in this year or next year? Are there any technologies you're looking into, courses, ideas, goals?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of business ideas that together, obviously, Dusan and myself, that we're looking to invest in certain things, etc. But definitely building the house, and yeah, just working with Declan. Our goal is to get him to top, like he's in top 7 already in the world, but if we want him to be on the very top. And this is my personal goal, because I know he helped me say my marriage, improve my results. And like we call it hot seat coaching last night. We had 40 something people, I think. And just seeing all those faces, we have 100 people in the academy, and this was a live call. So not everybody can make it. So just seeing them and seeing their lives change because I helped them get into the academy, discover the academy. I said, I want to make this global. I want to make this huge, and everybody should know about it. So that's those are my goals. When it comes to books, funny enough, like we read one book for a long time. Like we would, study the chapters. So right now I'm still on the YouTube Can Be Prosperous, although I read it a couple of times, but that's my for next couple of weeks anyway. But yeah, I have plenty of things I'm planning, and I don't know where to start because I want to know everything. Like, but that's one of the things. And yeah, I'm publishing my book now. In next, I'd say 2 months, definitely, the Abundance Journal. So I want to have that out in soft copy and hard copy. Probably I'll sell it on my website. So that's something that I want to finish in like short term goal.
Awesome stuff. Maybe we can have another chat when the book comes out. I'm interested in that process as well myself, so I would love to get some thoughts on from you when you go through the process completely. But Jelena, the last question that I usually ask people on this podcast is how to find the gold in life.
Ah, go after what you want, you know, and that's where the happiness is, because you'll never be happy if you settle for something that's not your dream. As
Yeah,
simple as that for me. Anyway.
that's true. Yeah. All right. Awesome. I agree on that one. I feel that a lot of people never go after what they want. Huge miss there. But we touched on that even before, and yeah, I think we covered the idea of why and how not to do it, right? If you have any more tips on that, feel free to share. But I feel that just like listening to yourself is important, because if you're having a feeling that something is telling you from the inside, yes, you should go for it, you should do it, it's probably right. And it's hard to even, if you're all your life not listening to that voice, you probably can't even hear it. But as soon as you start asking questions that Jelena mentioned before, you'll probably find some of these inner thoughts that you're having on where to go, how to do it, what do you want. For me, it started by writing goals. And Jelena, there's a funny thing that happened there. When I set out to write out a page of my goals for the first time, I couldn't, like, I wrote down what do I want, and I was looking at for it for like 5 minutes, and I was like lost, you know. And then I turned the page, and then I wrote what I don't want, and then the ideas just started coming. And after I wrote down the whole page of what I don't want, it was a lot easier to go back and open the first page and say, now I know what I want. Because if you limit what you don't want, then you know what you're not aiming for and what you have to avoid. And then it kind of gives you the light and dark contrast, and then you kind of easier figure out what you want to do. So that's something that worked for me.
Yeah, it's, you know what, you can't figure it out in a day. Like what we did is, like, you have 7 days of goal setting. So every single day you're thinking about your goals, you're rewriting them. It's like you're filtering and filtering and filtering until you get to the one. One more thing I'd like to add, when you said how to find the goal in life, is be a kind person, be a good person. And I know I sound like Miss Universe, world peace, but it's the truth.
Mm.
And you mentioned giving to others, and we call it the impressive increase. Leave every person you meet in this feeling that, let them feel good about themselves just because they came across you, you
Mm.
know and it comes back to you tenfold, and it's the truth. And
Yeah.
you can be very successful and still be a good person while helping others.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I try to live that every day. Like now during lockdown, you don't meet that many people on the street, but when I did, I would usually always smile and nod. And if we had a chat, like I was always trying to, like say something positive to them. And you never know how you made someone's life better. There are a lot of stories online where people were nearly at the brink of doing something really bad, and then somebody just smiled at them and sent some positive energy towards their way, and their life changed in that second. So yeah, I always remind myself on that and try to do it as much as I can.
Yeah, the same thought came to me, and I actually have goosebumps because
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
about that as well.
It's a crazy thing. Like I read a story on Instagram about a guy in Japan. Like in Japan, there are a lot of people who are depressed and have like really suicidal thoughts, and they have like bridges where people go regularly to jump off of the bridge to commit suicide. And there's this guy, he was driving to work there on a bike, and it was his regular route, and he would see people coming there, and at one point he would just stop and he would like pull people down and he would talk to them. And he turned that into his life mission, and now he's going from bridge to bridge and just pulling people back and helping them in their lives, which is amazing, so even when you're standing on the bridge and thinking about jumping, think about that there's someone out there who really doesn't want you to jump and wants to help you, and that some positivity might come towards you.
Yeah, and you know what? Especially now in lockdown, I know not many people talk about it, but it's a thing, and it's the reason, like, nobody talks about it because everybody's focused on COVID. But we're not mentioning that now. We're not talking about it. But like personal development business has never been busier because people are at home alone and they're figuring out, okay, this is not the life that I want to be living from now on. You know, they find themselves not in a good place. They are looking for help. They're reaching out, and it's good because this lockdown has the COVID. It's one way to change a paradigm. It's a sudden shock, right? Paradigm is your beliefs and your habits, the way you think. And it's a sudden shock, and it's usually very negative. And this is what has happened to a lot of people. So yeah, that's you know, it's a mission for some, and it's my mission as well. That's what we do. We save people. We help them, you know, find a better life for themselves, create a better life for themselves and their families.
Yeah, that's a really truly noble goal, and I wish you best of luck with that, Jelena. You've been a great sport. Thank you for sharing the positivity and the great ideas and helping out people. I would love to chat to you again and more about personal development and the book that you're writing, and I hope everything goes well for you there.
Thank you so much. We are hosting a free masterclass now. I'm not sure when will the podcast be published, but we're starting on 26th of April. Declan is hosting a 5-day masterclass, free masterclass. So we'll talk about fear, persistence, attitude, goal setting. So for anyone who wants to join, I can send you the link. Absolutely free. You will get a lot of content, a lot of homework as well for accountability. So highly recommended if anybody is interested in personal development and they don't know where to start.
Awesome. I think I have 2 more episodes to publish before this one, so I don't think it'll be done by then. But we'll do it like this. We'll leave all your social media links below in the show notes and in the descriptions. And then if people want to reach out and join the study groups and start improving their lives, contact Jelena on those below. And yeah, that's how we'll do it. Jelena, thank you again for joining the Uncle Gold podcast.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Thanks to everyone who's still listening. It was a great episode. I know it was a little bit longer, but I think we've gone through some really interesting stuff there and really useful tips on people who want to start improving their lives. So leave us a comment on what you like best. What are some of the topics that we've gone into maybe not enough? What are maybe some of the topics that you would like to hear more about in the next episode? And yeah, just leave us general comments on what maybe helped change your life, and wish you a great day and hope you find the gold in your life. See you around, guys. Bye-bye.
The Uncle Gold Podcast.